Welcome back! My name is ballerscuba. This is Video Games Over Time. We are still in 1984. Today, we're going to talk about The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The story of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy takes us to Douglas Adams. Douglas Adams is an English comedy writer. Adams joined a comedy group in London in 1973. Monty Python's Graham Chapman caught a performance of the comedy group in 1974 and decided to work with Adams as a writing duo. The two would work together to write 2 sketches for Monty Python's Flying Circus, with Douglas Adams becoming one of only 2 non-Python members to earn a writing credit on the show. After this, though, Adams' career began to stall. He began working odd jobs while still writing sketches that would be rejected. Adams found some success writing for radio sketches, having a couple sketches for a couple different shows picked up. It was around this time that Adams came up with an idea he called the Ends of the Earth. This proposal would have 6 different self-contained episodes, each ending with the Earth being destroyed in a different way. As Adams continued to work on the proposal, he realized that he needed an alien on Earth to explain what was happening. He decided that the alien could be doing research for a guide named The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, based on a book that Adams had while on vacation in Europe named The Hitchhiker's Guide to Europe. As Adams continued to work on the story, the guide became the focus of his work instead of the destruction of Earth. In 1977, Adams and radio producer Simon Brett proposed the work, now called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, to BBC Radio 4. BBC Radio 4 agreed to produce the series, so Adams began working on fleshing out the script. Despite having an outline, it is said that Adams would often make up the stories as he went. Adams reached out to John Lloyd, another British comedy writer, for help with the final 2 episodes of the 6-episode series. While Lloyd's work can be found in the original broadcast, it is said that most of his contributions were reworked and rewritten in later versions. BBC Radio 4 broadcasted The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy starting on March 8, 1978. The first broadcast went through March and April. It received good reviews and quite an audience, so the broadcast was re-aired twice in 1978, and a special Christmas episode was broadcast as well. These episodes were broadcast by National Public Radio in the United States. Adaptations of the radio broadcast would start early. In 1979 and 1980, multiple theaters would adapt the broadcast into stage plays. The success of this broadcast would help Adams's career. He would start landing more jobs, including the script editor for 3 serials of Doctor Who for the 4th Doctor in 1979. Adams reworked the first 4 episodes of the broadcast into a novel. This novel would be released in October 1979, simply named The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. A second series was commissioned by BBC to complete the work the Christmas episode started. These additional 5 episodes were broadcast in January 1980, bringing the total number of episodes to 12. A few different radio stations in America would broadcast this second series in 1980. This second series of radio broadcasts would be the main inspiration for the second novel in the series, which would be named The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, which was published in October 1980. In 1981, BBC Two would air a television adaptation of the first series, bringing in most of the actors that were originally cast for the radio play. After this, the series would be continued in novel form. In 1982, a 3rd book was written, named Life, the Universe, and Everything. This novel had almost entirely new material, although much of it was adapted from a treatment Adams had written for a Doctor Who theatrical release. In 1984, a fourth book was written, named So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. This was entirely new material. These novels would become very popular and well-reviewed. It is often in this form that people are first exposed to the series. That is the backstory of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy through 1984. With that now told, it's time to look at the plot of the first novel, named The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you are unfamiliar with its plot and do not want it spoiled, now would be the time to stop watching. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video. For those that have stayed, let's go through the plot of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The novel opens by describing the human race as primitive, and introduces The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which has information on every planet in the galaxy. We then meet Arthur Dent as he wakes up in his home in England. Arthur finds out that his house is scheduled to be demolished to build a bypass. Arthur lies in front of his house in front of a bulldozer to stop it. Arthur Dent's friend, Ford Prefect, convinces a bureaucrat to lie down in Arthur's place while Ford and Arthur go to a local pub. The construction crew continue with the demolition anyway, but are stopped when a fleet of alien ships arrive, led by the alien Vogons. The Vogons declare that Earth must be demolished in order to make room for a hyperspace expressway and promptly destroy the Earth. Arthur and Ford are able to survive by hitching a ride on a spaceship. Ford tells Arthur that he is also an alien, originally from a planet near Betelgeuse. Ford was on Earth as a researcher for The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That is how he was able to get both of them on the ship before the Earth was destroyed. Arthur and Ford are then rescued by an improbable chance by the Heart of Gold. The Heart of Gold is a spaceship powered by an infinite improbability drive, which allows it to travel to any point in space, but has a side effect of causing something impossible to happen. It was one of these side effects that rescued Arthur and Ford. The Heart of Gold was stolen by Zaphod Beeblebrox, the president of the galaxy. Zaphod also has a human companion, Trillian, as well as a depressed robot named Marvin on board. Zaphod takes the ship and the passengers to the legendary planet Magrathea, whose inhabitants specialized in constructing planets. Magrathea's computers launch missiles at the Heart of Gold, but Arthur activates the infinite improbability drive to avoid them. The Heart of Gold stays in the same spot, but the missiles are transformed into a sperm whale and a bowl of petunias. As the sperm whale lands on the planet, it opens a path underground. Zaphod, Ford, and Trillian go into the planet's interior. Arthur and Marvin stay outside. There, Arthur meets a resident of Magrathea named Slartibartfast. Slartibartfast explains that the inhabitants of Magrathea have been in stasis. He takes Arthur to the planet construction facility, where he shows a race of hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings created a supercomputer named Deep Thought. Deep Thought's purpose was to reveal the answer to the ultimate question to life, the universe, and everything. Deep Thought said it would take 7.5 million years to complete the calculations. After that 7.5 million years, Deep Thought revealed that the answer is 42. Deep Thought then explained that the answer seemed to not make sense because the ultimate question was still unknown. Deep Thought said that an even larger supercomputer must be created to determine the ultimate question. That larger supercomputer was Earth, which was constructed by the Magratheans. As it turns out, Earth was only 5 minutes away from figuring out the ultimate question when it was destroyed. The hyper-intelligent super beings were actually on Earth at the time. They were mice who performed experiments on humans while pretending to be experimented on themselves. Slartibartfast then takes Arthur to a feast where his friends are. The feast is hosted by Trillion's pet mice, who escaped when the ship landed. They reject the idea of restarting Earth to calculate the ultimate question. They have decided that the ultimate question is contained within Arthur's brain. They offer to buy Arthur's brain, but he declines. Zaphod saves Arthur from having his brain forcefully removed as police arrive to arrest Zaphod. As things look dire, the police's life support systems short-circuit, killing them. It turns out that Marvin the robot had been explaining his views on the universe to the police officer's spaceship. The spaceship, in response, committed suicide. The 5 travelers then decide to head to the restaurant at the end of the universe when the novel ends. That is a summary of the plot to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy novel. Of course, I cannot replicate the humor in the novel in such a brief summary. While there are more novels in the series that are worthy of attention, this first novel is typically the most beloved by fans. It is also the only one that is immediately relevant to our history of video games. That will do it for the story of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for now. My name is ballerscuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video when we don't forget to bring our towel.